All right.
Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Bishop of the Bird, Nick, and with me, we have the Cigar Authority himself. We have Dave Garofalo. How you doing, Dave?
I'm awesome, thank you. Awesome to be here. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing all right. Yeah, coming to you from the Ice Tent of Love here in the St. Louis area. So, you guys, I'm telling you, you need to get a deal going with Eskimo. That's the company that makes this. And you need to have branded up Two Guys Smoke Shop ice tents. Sell a little kit. Don't even have them in store. Have it like something to where, like, you sell them in store and then they drop ship. Maybe Eskimo drop ships that way, because it'd be a lot of product for you to carry in store. But I'm telling you, these things are great.
I think somebody got to see it set up though, like this, to understand how good and easy it is. Actually, set it up outdoors at the store and invite the customer in. Say, come on, let's smoke a cigar outdoors. What are you, crazy? It's 20 degrees out. Oh no, come in this.
Yeah, no, that's the way to do it. Because the one that I've got the smallest one, and it's 25 square feet. I can fit two people in here. Now, granted, ventilation wise, you're going to want to try and figure something out for smoke, purposes. But in terms of space, you can fit two people in here easily. I just did a episode with Pinky the other day in her ice tent. She's got the 3-person one. That one, it's like 36 square feet, and I can stand fully up in that, and my head doesn't touch the ceiling. So it's a big spacious area.
All right, you hotbox it in there though. When you're by yourself, you just say, okay.
So there's 4 windows and the door. Right now, I have 2 of the windows open, and the door is halfway shut. And then I don't have them up right now, but normally, let's see if I can do this without completely jacking this up. So normally,
because the smoke's going to rise.
Yeah. So I don't know if you noticed, there's a vent. There's little vents above 2 of the windows. And see, in those vents, I don't know if that remotely even showed up or not, but those vents, there's a mesh. And so what I normally do in past years, I haven't hooked them up yet. I have computer fans. I have one on this side and one on the other side. One draws air in from the outside, and the other draws air out of the tent. And so it creates a nice little cross breeze right across the top.
Beautiful.
Brilliant.
All right.
It works out well.
So you're in the 30s where you are.
I am.
And you're in the 60s in that little tent.
I am. And you're in the luxury of your own home.
Yeah. I have a house and I can smoke wherever I want, as I do. But yeah.
It's good to be the king of the castle, I suppose. So, well, what are you smoking today?
Well, to rub it in because you missed it.
I did.
I am smoking the New England Cigar Expo cigar that we had at the show. Your buddy Nick Gervais, our buddy Nick Gervais.
I know.
He came to visit this weekend. And,
yeah, I want to. Since you brought that up, I want to say, like, what? Was it too hard for you to get what was it? Oh God, I had this all set up. The guy with the coffee and the donkey.
What is his name?
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I had this all set up. I was going to ask you this. And man, this irritates me. Wow, anyway.
You're old enough to remember that guy, huh?
Yeah. Hang on.
I'm too old to remember.
Juan Valdez.
So. Juan Valdez.
It's like what? You were too good to not, you couldn't get Juan Valdez and his donkey up there. You had to get my coffee guy to come up there and like
I guess he was up visiting family or whatever it was for Thanksgiving. So he said he was going to pop in. So I said, all right. I ordered coffee. And as it was getting closer and closer to the date, I said, listen, you're going to have to bring some coffee with you because I haven't received it yet. He's like, oh, shit. And wouldn't you know it, on the day of I did receive it the day of in time, plenty of time for it. So ended
I'll
up working out.
I'll tell you, with the mail and everything these days,
Mm.
yeah, I mean, you got lucky getting it, because I'll tell you, I got the show pack from you guys. I feel like it was yesterday. I think it was no, it wasn't yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. It would have been Saturday. I got it in the mail Saturday. And but like so many other packages are just running behind already.
Yeah.
And it's just ridiculous. So well,
it costs more and it's worse. The
tell me
service is
about it.
worse and it costs way more. So
The postage for my classification of mailing for my newspaper, they've raised it twice this year.
wow.
And by adding up those two increases, it's come out to a 40% increase just this year alone. So they're nickel and diamond all over the place, and they're not giving the service that goes along with those nickels
you
and
have
dimes.
a lot of people that live there, moved away, and they want to stay in touch with the local news.
Not many.
Okay.
Most of the time, see, my area, we have a lot of Air Force folks anyway. So we have a lot of, not to be derogatory, but transient folks that move in and out. And so they pick it up when they're here, and then they let it go when they leave. So, yep.
Okay.
Well, I'm smoking the Leaf by Oscar 10th anniversary Criollo today. I've got that from Oscar Valadares. It's a Honduran wrapper, Honduran binder, and Honduran filler, 6x52 Toro. And this is one that Ken Clarich down at Ash and Ale has been raving about, and I wanted to try, and I have not tried it yet, so I'm going to give it a shot now. So,
I have not smoked the 10th anniversary. I know we have it. Leaf by Oscar is a sleeping giant. Every year when I look at the end of the year of sales, that is up there, and I'm shocked each time because it's like I don't even see people buy them. What ends up happening here? It's you don't see it happening, but they end up moving a lot of cigars.
Yeah,
and that was one of those gimmicky cigars when it came out. I go,
I know you love a good
this is going to last, but I like it, and I bought in big for it. But I never thought it would last that long, and here it is still out there because actually the cigar inside the wrapper is good. I mean, it's really good. So that was 10 years ago. That was Mr. Jonathan, by the way. That was a show that I had just started with Selected Tobacco, and he asked me to stand in his booth. So I stood in the booth and I said, Jonathan, you got to go around and look around and see what's new and get back to me. And he came back with that. And I said, oh my God, I love it. And whatever he had ordered, I said, double it. I said, this is cool and it's good. So, that was 10 years ago, based on the 10-year anniversary.
Well, it could be more based on cigar time, too.
Right. Absolutely.
There you go. Well, it's time to cut the cigar, and the official cutting is brought to you by Dan the Man Ponder over there at Riverman Cigar Company. And guys, if you want Leaf by Oscar, Dan's got your product for you. You can swing on by and check that out, as well as a variety of other cigars. He has the humidor fully stocked, and he's got the lounge all warm and comfortable for all of your smoking needs in the colder winter months. So swing on by Riverbend Cigar Company if you're in the St. Louis area, and if you're not, he does do mail order, so you can give him a call, and he'd be happy to walk you around the humidor over the phone. So it's Riverman Cigar Company of Crestwood, Missouri, and with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar.
There we go. How's Dan doing?
He's going well. Good? Yeah, he's doing well. He actually just went with his brother to Arkansas for Thanksgiving. His brother's daughter, so his niece, is down there in Arkansas or Tennessee? No, Arkansas. And they were able to go to the Mizzou football game on that trip and everything. And he's been having a good time. And then one of the regulars over there, his name is Jeff. He's either one of or the largest cattle rancher in the state of Missouri.
Oh, wow.
And participates a lot in rodeo is what I'm getting at. And so he took Dan and his brother to some big rodeo competition. And so they got the behind the scenes access to this rodeo competition. And so that was a good time. So he's having fun.
I miss Dan. We used to do the clubhouse calls on a weekly basis, and he'd be on there, and I got talking to him many times, and not doing that as much as I used to. One of the reasons why I did that is Dan Davison was a guy out of he used to be from Rhode Island, and he ended up moving down with Altadas to Florida. So it'd be kind of be a get together with him that would do it every single week, and I hired him. So he's up here, and I talk to him way too often now because there he is. So I certainly don't need to get on a clubhouse call with him, but I miss some of the other folks. So maybe the beginning of the year we start that up again, if it's even a thing.
I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest. The only time I ever use the app is when you guys do the clubhouse calls. So
yeah,
I still have it though, and I still get alerts. So whenever you do it, I get an alert.
All right.
Or else I get Mr. Jonathan texting me like 5 minutes before it's supposed to start. Like, are you going to get on here? And I guess he's on there early and waiting for you and struggling to fill time. So he asked me if I'd come on. That was, I think, the last time you guys did it. But
which just came out of the blue,
yeah. So cold draw on the 10th anniversary leaf, and it's interesting. I don't know about I might be completely crazy here, but there's a fruity component, but then there's also a very slight, subtle, like almost like pine tree, like a juniper, like you'd get from like gin, that kind of pine kind of needly, Christmassy, kind of a Christmassy component.
Christmas tree, not that one that you hang in your car, the little pine tree.
No,
no,
not that one. Not that.
Those taste terrible, by the way.
I've never tasted one. I wouldn't think you're supposed to.
They don't.
But yeah,
they don't taste like they smell. They don't.
Yeah, run out of mouth mint or breath mints.
Yeah,
hadn't figured that would.
Yeah, it didn't work at all.
So, Dave, I got a couple of topics I want to touch base with you on.
All right.
But the first, and probably most, top of mind, is what the hell did you do to piss off YouTube?
Man, I don't know. We just do the same thing over and over. So when they treat us differently than they did the last 14 years, I say, what the hell is different than what we did? And when they put us back on, are they going to throw us back off? Because we only know one show, and that's the show we did again on Saturday. They said they'd put us back on. They'd put us back on Wednesday, they said, and this morning it went on. So we're back on. They didn't let us go live. They didn't let us go on Sunday either. And on Monday, around 7:00 this morning, I get a text from Ed Sullivan, who produces the show, and he said, I don't know what happened, but we're up. So I said, okay, we'll see what ends up happening there. And each time these type of things happen, like we got thrown off Facebook, me, Ed Sullivan, and Jonathan all got thrown off Facebook, and we had to restart up again.
I know.
What the hell happened there? We thought it was us. It turned out that because we have a studio, somebody in the podcast studio said something like maybe vaccines aren't good, or who the hell knows what was going on at that time of whatever.
Yeah.
And because our 3 names were attached to that account in case somebody had to do something to the studio. The guess is, and I say guess because there's no telling for sure, because they don't tell you. They said you violated something, we took you off, and it's irreversible. That was Facebook. This time they said you broke our policy. This is YouTube. You broke our policy and you're off. So is 180 shows they took out.
Wow.
And along with that, you can't go live, and you're basically in jail for a week. So maybe that happened Monday last week, and we didn't know it until it got close to trying to post our thumbnail for the show coming up. I don't know what happened, but it went back up today. And in the meantime, somebody told us about Rumble and said, okay, try Rumble. We were already doing Odyssey, but apparently Odyssey is in financial trouble. And it looks like they're not going to stick around. It's there. We have all our shows up there anyway. So they're someplace, including the 180 that were taken down. So they exist. And then somebody said, okay, try Rumble, which is interesting. I don't know if you do it yet, but
No.
Not a bad insurance policy to put it there. You can actually go live on Rumble, which we did for the first time ever, and said we loaded up a bunch of stuff, and then we said, okay, let's try it live. And if you see Jonathan at the beginning of the show, he throws his arms up because it actually worked. We saw it actually go into it and said, okay, this worked. Not only did it work, is that Facebook and YouTube push cigar content down as much as they can.
For sure.
So people can't see it. It can't be seen. So we'll get maybe 1,000 viewers over the course of time on a particular episode on YouTube. Same thing about Facebook. The majority of our listens are audio, which, thank God, that's the way you should.
I say the same thing for mine.
Yeah, there's nothing to look at here, believe me. But those that do, like my mother, for instance, she watches the show on TV. She thinks,
okay,
which is on her TV, has YouTube, and there is the Cigar Authority, and then she can watch. And she couldn't on anything else, so it was there. So there's people that do that, and that's where they listen to the show, or maybe Sunday morning in their garage and have a cigar and they put it on, or whatever happens.
Yeah,
I don't want to lose it, and I know I'm not going to get any more than I ever got before, because the only people that see it are people that subscribe to it. They will not allow that to get pushed out there for people to see it exists.
Yeah.
Well, Rumble, on the other hand, this is the first week live on Rumble ever, and we're 2,200 views already in 3 days.
Really?
More than double in 3 days. How is that possible? Because you're talking about a show for 14 years we've been doing it. We don't take those kind of spikes. When you spike, we go up 5%, 2%, or whatever. You don't take double digit or 100% growth. More than 100% now, because usually the show continues to grow for about 2 weeks. Then it starts dying off after that point. It's got about a 2-year real shelf life on it. And we're at 2,200 as of early this afternoon. Who knows where it's going? That tells me Rumble is not showing it.
I was going to say
for people to see.
It's not throttling the content, and it's just putting it out there like everything else, and people are able to find it just as easy as anything else. That's great.
And we're talking about an audience of a minute audience compared to YouTube, obviously.
For sure.
And yet more people got to see it. So they're doing everything they can, as Facebook is, to not let our product be seen. So just a heads up, not a bad place to go. And, I'll continue to mention on the show where we're available. I haven't done that in probably 14 years, to say, find us on Facebook and, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's something to start bringing in and let the people know about where we are. They may be seeing it on Rumble now and not know that it's on YouTube and Facebook and all that stuff. So as long as they're going to keep us on, we're going to stay. But it looks like we're loving Rumble right now.
See, and that's it's such a double-edged sword, because I know on one hand, it's very easy to stand up and yell about the importance of First Amendment rights and free speech and all that. And I obviously I'm an advocate for that. On the flip side, we are using their platforms, and they have their terms and conditions, and they own it and whatever. And so it becomes this question, this matter of fairness. And that's what really sucks, is that, you're trying to appeal to somebody, and if they make an arbitrary decision, they make an arbitrary decision. And, we're the ones on the outs. But yeah, I guess the most you can do is, try and play by their rules as best you can. I know that with mine, I have to say it's not not for kids and
Yeah,
no
we do
one
the
under
same.
18. And I know
Yeah,
you got to log in to view it, everything. So like,
yeah.
I don't
They make it
understand what.
as hard as they can. They make it for us, and I'll play by the rules. That's their rules. But
Yeah,
to somebody searching for cigars, and the only thing that pops up is telling you that it's not good for you, is bullshit. First off, it's
yeah,
not true, and the second thing is, where's my content that's out there that you got it set for most recent. You show me an 8-year-old study that was done by some little place or something that says it's not good for you, or whatever, and that's what you're gonna pop up. So you're kind
yeah.
of setting the message the way you want to do it, right?
Well, and you got to wonder, how much money YouTube is made off of your content that you haven't been given because they demonetize tobacco
Yep,
related
but they still
videos,
run the
however
ads.
many. I was going to say they're still running YouTube ads and stuff through your videos. You're not getting anything for that,
No, no.
So, yeah, that's some crap, but all right, well, Rumble's the place to find you for video now. I mean YouTube, but we can also
And
check you out on Rumble.
I just looked on Rumble to see do they monetize it, and they do. You can monetize it if you want. I don't know if I dare touch that and say, okay, let me make $10 here and $10 there.
Yeah.
If they, I don't know whether to bother with it or not, but it's there for everybody else. I don't know. I'll talk with Ed Sullivan and ask his recommendation when I see him, because it's available also. And imagine downloading our 14 years on there. I don't have to tell you, it's a lot of work to put a show together. And then here they make the money off of your show. And I got to sit on the sidelines and take these timeouts.
Think of how much bigger Mr. Jonathan's ribbon budget could be if he would have had all
Right,
that YouTube
huge,
revenue. Huge. Anyway, so I saw, obviously not this week, it was I think previous week, you got the package.
I got the package. It came in, and I gave it to Jonathan, and he laughed out loud. And I think he came up with some other name of who he thought it was. And I said, maybe you're not old enough to remember Egghead or something. He goes, I remember him. And then he churned on the back of it, and there it said it was Egghead or something.
That was it.
And I told him Michael Jackson. He was on the voice in the Michael Jackson thing. If you didn't remember who he was, but
heard you saying that, and he made fun of you for that. And I'm thinking, dude, I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about the Thriller. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh God, no! I was walking through Target, and I was walking through looking stuff for my son, and I saw that Egghead action figure there, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it looks like Mr. Jonathan. And then I took a closer look, and he's even in a flamboyant, like yellow and white suit and everything. I'm like, oh my God, it really looks like Mr. Jonathan. So I had to get it.
Wow, and that wasn't an old piece. That was a new thing.
Brand new. That was this year.
As Vincent Price.
Vincent Price.
Not like there's a new movie out with Egghead as.
No. Somebody's making toys of the old TV show, and for whatever
look what
reason,
happens. We buy it. I don't know if any kid bought it, but I would have bought it too if I saw something like that.
I saw it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a Mr. Jonathan. And then I when I sent it, I thought he was going to be missing that episode, and I was hoping it was going to get there in time that it could serve as the stand-in Mr. Jonathan with you there, but unfortunately
he missed the week before, and it didn't come in time. And we had taped the episode that he was going to miss. So we taped it in advance, because that was the Contenders episode for Contenders for the Cigar of the Year. So I said, I'm fine. I'll do it. And I'll be the only one on the stage, and it's okay. And as tough as it is for me to do a show by myself, I got Ed Sullivan at least.
Yeah.
When you do your show alone, let me tell your listeners,
it's painful.
Never did I do it without a producer. So I've done it 3 times by myself with a producer. So I was able to clear my throat. I was able to go to break, and different things like that. But by yourself, I just can't even imagine.
It's rough, man. You got to have stuff to talk about, and like you said, you got to be able to clear your throat and take a puff on the cigar, and light the cigar and everything else. It's I don't know. I try to avoid it, so I'm very thankful when I text you and you're like, yeah, we can do it this night. I'm like, perfect. So yeah. Anyway, so speaking of the contenders pack, you guys are right in the well, I guess you're in the middle ish, the voting period for cigars of the year. Let's talk a little bit about that. You guys have a hell of a lineup this year.
We do. It's it's tied for the most cigars we ever had before. It's funny. I hear some people saying cigars aren't as good this year as they were last year and stuff. And I keep going on, and I'm a broken record that cigars are better every year, and that's because agriculturally they get better and better. And I'll make a little something to it during the little boom or whatever you want to call the COVID thing that was going on. They were starting to rush cigars to market because they had to. So yeah, a little young sometimes. Oh my God, they just roll this off the table. This needs to sit for a month or so. But I noticed the tobacco was aged and good.
I noticed a lot more tobacco like voids. Like you'd be smoking and the filler tobacco would like either not be there and there'd be like an empty spot, like it would tunnel, or that it would maybe burn quicker and you'd result in tunneling. But like there's at least one brand I can tell you right. I'm not going to, but off the top of my head, that it was a fairly prominent cigar in their line that I smoked about 3 of them that were just utterly unsmokable because you would take a draw on it and you'd get nothing but air and it wouldn't burn at all because of the complete lack of filler tobacco. And I experienced a lot of that during COVID.
Yeah. So that was a little ugly segment. And while that was going on, I told all the younger people to the cigar world that didn't live through it in the 90s, during the cigar boom of the 90s, which was the god-awful worst cigars that ever came out. And consumption was never bigger, and the cigars were terrible because everybody was just open factories. They were rolling, we used to laugh, banana leaves or something because, my God, the stuff wouldn't burn. It was crazy stuff that was going on. And when that was over, consumption went down, but cigars got way better. And they continue to get better year after year. This year, no exception. It was tough. I mean, we had started with about 40 different brands and then brought it down. And I said, there's no way I'm going to, all these cigars. We got to get it down to, I would like 8 because we have this certain package packaging that holds 8 cigars beautifully, but we couldn't. So it's like, okay, buy this other container and we'll have to get the 10 in it. I hope it fits. And they came in, it fit, and said, all right, we're going to go with 10. And because everything that's on there is deserving, along with a whole bunch that didn't make the cut. And I feel bad for them because normally any one of those other ones would have been in there also. But you got to draw the line somewhere. And that wasn't anybody else voting except for us at the Two Guys Smoke Shop looking at it and saying, all right, let this one go, let that one go. And fights along the way. And now the battle begins with, what the consumers end up liking. And it's because we put that on sale just a few weeks ago and people don't smoke as much as we do. I don't know if we got any votes in yet or very few votes that came in yet because people have got to get through 10 of them to do it. So I'm talking to some people and they say I'm 7 in, I'm 8 in, I got a couple more to go. I beg them to please wait to smoke all of them because it's unfair that, you may look at something and say, I don't even know this one, so this ain't going to win. You don't know it because you don't know it yet, and you got to smoke it and try it because everything in there is new.
And what, the Montosa Maduro, correct me if I'm wrong, that won last year, and how many people knew that versus some of the other ones in the lineup, and it obviously won because of all the different metrics that you put together. So voting came in and everything else. So I mean, that cigar may not have been a well-known cigar, but it ran the race and it won.
And going back, and I've been doing it since 1992 was the first year I did a cigar of the year. Not Cigar Aficionado, not anybody that exists today. It was only me because coming from the nightclub business, I was like, why isn't there a cigar of the year? And I looked everywhere and there wasn't a cigar of the year. I said, well, damn it, there's going to be a cigar of the year this year. And that was 1992. And, you know, I picked different things along the way. It was Romeo and Juliet in 1992. And people didn't know what Romeo and Juliet was in 1992. And then it was Fonseca, and it was different cigars along the way that end up, and it was always new. So, you know, when Rocky Patel won, nobody knew who Rocky Patel was. When Perdomo won way back in their first cigar in 1996, I believe it was, nobody knew what Perdomo was, and nobody knew what, you know, Montosa is. And I get to look at those and read them off. And, you know, as you hear these names, and then you say, oh my God, La Flor Dominicana. La Flor Dominicana, this was 1994. It was a brand new cigar. What's La Flor Dominicana? Nobody knows. Well, there it is, cigar of the year. And most of the time it proves me right, because Perdomo, Rocky Patel, and La Flor Dominicana, here it is 30 years later, and these guys still exist, where most of those in that contenders pack of those years, gone. You know, so we try to get it right so that years from now I can say I told you so. So
there you go.
We'll see.
Well,
that's
fun.
how I live my life. That's half the way I live my life, is get to say I told you so.
You know what? There's something to be said about that. So for those folks who are interested in taking part, are there still contender packs available that if they wanted to get one?
There are twoguyscigars.com, the number 2guyscigars.com, and you'll probably see it in the rotator, contenders for the cigar of the year. You have till it's like right after Christmas to get your vote in there. Your vote counts, but
plenty of time.
It's still 30 days. Your vote counts, but your vote isn't it. You know, and I try to tell them that. Most of the time it works out that way, that it ends up going that way, but that's not it. We have a matrix of how we do it, and it becomes all these different aspects, including, and I believe this is why Montosa won last year, is because people got a contenders pack, they smoked Montosa, and they came in the next week and bought a box of Montosa, because we're talking about a $6 cigar, and they go, oh, that cigar was fantastic. How much does that cost? Then they look that up and they go, $6, because it doesn't say on the packaging or anything how much it is. You bought the whole pack for whatever it was. And then you say, my God, that's really good. Now we start looking at, let's follow, and our computer system doesn't. Let's follow all the people that bought the contenders pack, and let's see what they bought. They might have voted for something different, but their wallet tells me differently. They voted with their wallet. So I think he thought Montosa was really good, even if you didn't pick it, because you bought a whole box after that. And the one you picked, you didn't even buy a single.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's psychological things that happen in there too, of I want to be one of the cool guys. This is a cool cigar, but let me spend my money on this other one. That's what I care about, is really what you think the best one is for the money. And there was the answer.
There you go. Well, we, on the other hand, over at the Cigar Pulpit, are doing our parishioners' top cigars of 2023, and we have no qualifications to speak of whatsoever. Ours is purely I have nothing to do with it. I have no input whatsoever as to the nominees. I'm not voting. I'm not taking part. It's strictly a listener provided thing, and we just completed the nominations, and actually, as of the day that this episode drops, the voting will open up. So if anybody wants to get in on the voting, they just have to join the Pulpit Parishioners group on Facebook, and that gets them access to the voting information, and they can just go and vote.
They're not voting in front of everybody, though. It's a secret ballot.
Yeah, well, it's like an online form thing. Nick over My Monthly and fucking Good Coffee, he's helping out with all that. And so I think it's a form on his website, and you can go on there and click your boxes and rate them and rank them, and however you want to do it, and then go from there, which I think when he and I spoke earlier today, we had, I think, upwards of 70 or right at 70 cigars nominated. However, by the time you take duplicates into account, there might be closer to like something in the 40s, you know, because there were a couple of brands that really represented well. And
But
so
you
we'll
don't
have
say
to.
to them, has to be new cigar. You don't say
No,
anything.
no, yeah, because the problem with that with us, Dave, is since listenership is all over the place, um, as well as I do, that some of these shops get new stuff, and some of them they don't bother with that. They just get what they get, and some people never see. There might be shops out there that people go to that they never see All Saints or Aladino or any of these brands. And so
Yeah,
rather than, like West Tampa Tobacco, they won our top spot with the black last year. And I mean, they were brand new and they're still brand new, but they're crushing it pretty well with
yeah,
nominations. But there's a lot of people that they haven't hit yet. And so we wanted to open it up to not just what is new this year, but also what's smoking good. So,
there you
you
go.
get people that put in the evergreen, cigar. Like I'm sure the Corojo Reserve is probably listed in there because I think your co-host may have voted, and I'm assuming that if he nominated cigars, I'm gonna assume the Corojo Reserve is listed in that list. So,
Yeah, he's the
but
champion on that. There's no doubt
I
about it.
know it. I
You
know
know,
it.
we have another show called The Ash Hole that I do, and
Mm-hmm.
they have different criteria. I stepped into that because somebody quit and there wasn't somebody to fill in. My office is straight ahead, as you know, and they like, can you just come on because whatever. I'm like, okay, replace me though. I got work to do, and it's been a year. I'm not replaced yet,
That's how it
but
happens.
so I said, okay, what is your criteria? And they said we had to smoke the cigar this year. That's it. So I'm
See, and
like,
that
all
and
right,
that's my criteria. So the end of the year, the last episode of the year this year, I'll go over my like top ones of 2023, but it's ones that I smoked on the show.
okay,
So
that's what they
yeah.
do too. And so I'm like, all right, you got to give me a list. So I see
Mm,
it, and they said, okay. And then I guess the week before we start fighting with each other to say what should win based on that information. Um, and another thing we did on the Cigar Authority is we have the stars reviews now, which
oh, I
is
know.
the oh, oh, you're part of it, right?
I'm part of it. Yeah.
All right. Okay, good. So thank you for that.
I still need to
And
get you my one for November.
all right, hurry up.
I will.
So this is consumers buying these blind cigars and giving their reviews and ratings and all this. Now, this what happened the past few months has only been, I don't think it's only a couple of months, um, is was a testing ground to see how this works and whatever. But imagine next year coming around and we can include the couple of months that passed. Then we can start doing, okay, what was the highest rated? What was the strongest cigar? From this information based on listeners as opposed to just ourselves to end up saying that.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think of smoking a cigar blindly? You have no indication besides I gave you a number to it. You got two of them in case one doesn't draw, you weren't paying attention. It's important. I know it's a pain in the ass to say, okay, I got to get through two of these things.
Oh no,
And
I don't think it's
maybe,
a pain in the ass. My problem is it is how do I put this? Okay. So there's a certain level of I don't know, for lack of a better term, responsibility that I'm putting on myself with this.
yeah,
And I'm probably taking this way more seriously than perhaps other people, or you're even sitting there going like, dude, you're taking it way too seriously. But I look at it and I'm like, there's a written review that's compiled based upon the scores that the people in my group are submitting. And that written review is going out to Lord knows how many people on your website. It's being referenced as you're even talking about it now. It's being referenced as a benchmark detailing the rating, the strength, the whatever of that cigar. And so it's a review that follows that product. And because of that, I kind of I'm putting more responsibility and pressure on myself of like, okay, I got to really concentrate and get it right. And so some days when I've been way busy the last like 3 months, it seems. And so there are days that I'll have a cigar, but I'll be in the car driving from point A to point B, and I'll have a cigar then. And that's not a time for me to be smoking one of
No.
these cigars. And so that's been my whole thing, is like sitting down. Hence, why I'm like telling you on the 27th I need to get you the review for the month of November. But anyway, that's been my whole thing, is that because of that added pressure. And so with the first cigar, I sit down, I've got my notepad, and I'm taking notes on that first cigar. I know Mr. Jonathan and I talked about it, and he said, have one that you kind of just relax and enjoy, and, kind of make some mental notes. And then the second one you focus in. But I'm taking notes on that first one. And then that second one, I do the same thing, but I'm not really comparing my notes. I'm wanting to like see and then once I'm done with that, then I kind of like bring the notes together and see like, okay, I said I got a woodsy taste on this one, and I got a woodsy taste on this one, so that must be a common thing, but because the palate strikes different slightly at different
Yeah.
times based upon, oh, I had a cup of coffee this morning, I didn't have a cup of coffee this morning, and that sort of thing. So I'm trying to like piece it together.
Well, we do it one single cigar for Cigar Journal, but they don't send us one cigar. They send us a bag of, say, 20 cigars, and we have, say, 20 days to smoke all 20 and review all 20. And it is very, very tough. It's so tough. My door in my office is open all the time, except a lot of times if there's people up there and I have to do a review, because if I get sidetracked on it, half the cigar is smoked and I didn't write the first quarter, what the hell, shit,
Yeah.
first third. I passed the first third. Now I'm trying to remember. I can't. I almost have to, that's it. It's going to be an hour a day for the next 20 days that I'm going to put onto this. But I take it serious too, because this is somebody's cigar.
Yeah.
And it matters. Now,
No.
here's the interesting thing. As I get everybody's list, now I have to do exactly the same thing. Is you said woodsy, and two other people said woodsy, so woodsy is good. One guy ended up saying chestnuts, and nobody else is there at all. So chestnuts might not make the cut unless there's only two descriptive things. Then it'll say woodsy and a hint of chestnut or whatever that somebody mentions it. Again, I'm not smoking the cigar, but what I do is I know the cigar also. I know what it is. You don't.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at it.
Which I'm okay with. I'm okay with not knowing. That does kind of part of the one of the things that I ask myself is, would I buy a box of this? And it's kind of like as I'm smoking, that's kind of like when I'm coming up with that rating, that numerical rating, that comes into play. And the problem with me asking myself that question is I like to know the price, because obviously if it's a box of $300 Olivas, yeah, I'm probably not going to be buying a box of that. It might be great, but I'm not going to buy a box of them just due to the financial cost of it, So I don't know.
And you're doing a favor to a person like you that may look at a certain cigar that gets a good review or gets a bad review and was thinking about buying that cigar and may not buy that cigar now, saying, I don't have $30 to spend on that cigar, but listen, they look at everybody, how they rated it. Some people would, and I never rated cigars except for Cigar Journal. I never rated cigars for myself. You never saw a rating on Cigar Authority because I rated. I actually did one. I did a La Flor Dominicana, not the one that came out with the round box. It was the version that came out after the sunlight one. There was a night one and a day one.
Yeah.
So I did that because that wasn't going to come out for another year or so, and that's Lito Gomez's son, and he did the cigar, and I happened to smoke it, and I liked the cigar a lot. So I said, let me smoke another one and actually write a review. So I did it almost to give the kid, make him feel good, and because it was truly a good cigar. So I did it. Now, this month, there's 5 Thursdays in the month.
Mm.
I didn't consider that at all when I put this together. That said, okay, we're going to have 4 review teams. There'll be one every week, and we'll have one every single time. Well, it turns out, as Jonathan explained to me, every single year there is 4 weeks that has an extra week in it.
Yeah.
So Dan, who's compiling the stuff for me, and the guy's a statistician, by the way. It's pretty damn good. I found it. I found his superpower, which is stats and graphs and all this shit that I love.
And organizing expos with you, from what I gather, as well.
Yes. Yeah. So he said, "Listen, will you do a review?" And I, almost like a celebrity review, that there'll be when this thing ends up happening here. And I said, well, it wouldn't be a bad idea if I do one this year, Jonathan does one the next time it happens, and Ed does one the next time, and then we'll pick somebody after that, and have a different person each 4 times a year that happens.
Yeah.
And I said, all right, I'll do it the first time. Mine was not blind because I know what I was smoking. I'm the guy that puts it together, so I'm like, all right, in all fairness, this one is not blind. I'm looking at it, but there's a reason why I'm choosing this cigar, and here you go. And it is a cigar that has not been reviewed yet anywhere. So at least there's a review out for that. And that's what I'll try to do, is maybe pick a rare cigar that's never been reviewed, or pick a cigar from 20 years ago that I happen to still have and let somebody else smoke it. Some oddities that I could never fulfill all the people to smoke that cigar anyway. It couldn't happen.
Yeah.
So, and another thing I haven't done is give a cheap cigar in the group, and I will. So what I didn't want everybody to feel is, oh, I paid this money for this and I got a couple of $3 cigars or $5 cigars. But it's going to happen, because it's going to be important to happen, because somebody's going to smoke a cheap cigar and say, wow, this is a really good cigar. I wish it was me that I liked a cheap cigar. Unfortunately, it's not the case. But if you do, no sense in spending big money on a bottle of wine for me, because I don't know one from the other. And a cheap bottle of wine, a lot of times I like it better than the expensive stuff. So I'm better off with the cheap stuff. When it comes to a cigar, it's not the case. I just know too much about it. Maybe that's the problem. So if it's cheaply made or something, I can tell, and I don't like it, and whatever's going on with me with that. But I want to know what this group of 10 think of a cheap cigar too. So when it happens to you, you won't know until the review comes out. When the review comes out, say, oh, they screwed me. I'll make it up the next time, and mathematically it'll come out good. But you need to go through it. You're a better cigar taster than you were 2 months ago. I promise, going through that, and you'll get so good at it, and you appreciate cigars more than you ever did before. It's a very interesting experiment we're doing at the same time.
No, it is. And to your point, I mean, yeah, you really have to focus. I mean, I've found that I can't be watching like a TV show on my iPad while I'm doing it, because like you said, before you know it, you're into the second third, and you're like, wait a minute, what just happened in the first third? And so you can't do other things. You really have to legit focus, and the flavor wheel has been very helpful with because I'll sit there and I'll be like, what is that, and I'll just circle around, just keep circling around until something hits.
It's not mushroom, it's not the exactly. You start taking it away. Oh, I'm starting to get in there. Cinnamon, oh, it's close to, here we go. I do every single review I do is with the flavor wheel. That's why I put it out there, because that's what I've always used anyway. Every single show I do on the Cigar Authority, the flavor wheel is between me and Jonathan underneath the glass thing that's there. If you take a look, you'll see it there, because sometimes you need a little helping hand to figure out, what the hell am I looking for? What is this taste? Okay, there it is. I'm narrowing in on it. So absolutely, 100%.
I'm always so thankful when that flavor hits and you're like, okay, I know exactly what that one is, and unfortunately it doesn't happen that often that, you get that kind of clarity. So no, the wheel comes in very, very handy. Very handy. So the other thing that I wanted to touch base with you on before we get into some other fun here, and is so trade shows. I wanted to talk about kind of what I want to do a little prediction here of TPE and how it's going to shape up with PCA coming closer on its heels. Because I've had a little bit of time since the announcements were made way back when, and we've had it's been almost a year, I guess, since all that was announced. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts, and I want you to say you're off base. This is how I see it. Whatever else. I think
How are you
this year.
zooming in right now? How are you zooming in right now?
Oh, this iPad has got this thing. It's like a dynamic lens or something. So if I move over here, it follows me, and it's like
I
have my
did
own
this
little.
and you zoomed in and zoomed out.
I have my own little personal cameraman with my iPad. It freaked me out the first time it happened. So here's my thought. I think in terms of the premium cigar side, I think it's going to look very similar to last year because booth space was committed to, early enough on before PCA made their announcement that they were shifting up to March. And so you're going to see probably for the most part, most of the same players at TPE this year. I think the real change is going to come next year. I think that what you're going to find is that this year, manufacturers are, they're kind of locked in with the space, but they're also watching to see where do the retailers go, because let's be, they're going to want to follow the audience. And if a retailer is being told, hey, come to Vegas at the end of January, and then, hey, also come to Vegas at the end of March to see the same, give or take, most of the same people, what are they going to do? They're going to pick one or the other. And are they going to pick the one that has 25% of the show floor dedicated to their product and the other 75% to a bunch of stuff that they either don't care about, don't want to be associated with, or whatever else? Or are they going to go to the show that's 100% their show? And I think they're going to go to PCA over TPE. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm diminishing or picking on TPE. I'm just trying to call my perspective on this. And so what I think is that 2025 is going to be the year that you really see the premium cigar side of things shrink down to maybe just the brands that have the C-store, convenience store presence, and have a small little thing with that, and to hit those people. What do you think?
All right. So I agree with you, but the only caveat that's going to happen there is, yes, it's true that the manufacturer's locked in already. They bought the booth space. It had to be in before it ended up happening, which if you want to say these, and they say it doesn't, but of course they compete with each other.
Oh, yeah.
PCA should have announced it beforehand, and that wouldn't have happened this year. Now, next year, something different is going to change also. The PCA is going to New Orleans, which is the East Coast. So something,
true.
The PCA, the TPE is going to do okay because the folks on the West Coast aren't going to go all the way to New Orleans. So they made also for the next time, 2026, they're in trouble. Depending where PCA goes. If PCA stayed there, they could have really put a hurting on TPE because obviously the one you would want to go to is the bigger one. Also, another negative thing that happens in January is, I don't know about your local stores around there, but there's no business in January. There's no cash flow.
No,
it's really bad.
It's horrible around here in January.
Yeah. So some of the things the retailer has to rebuy. So you got the best sellers that you have, and they sold at Christmas time. So you have no money, but you're forced to buy your best sellers. So you got to stock them because that's what the customer wants and is asking for. So you do. But are you buying a whole bunch of new things with no cash flow coming in?
No.
Very, very tough. You start coming into March, okay, April is right around the corner. It ain't going to ship in before April. You're going to get it anyway. Beautiful. Here's the new product. Give it to me. I'm okay. I'll put it on my credit card. I won't have to pay it till May, and we're good. So there's the good part of it. But the East Coast, West Coast, I was on that board of directors for 6 years. And I look back in those days, in those early days, they used to bounce it every year somewhere different. And you would look at Vegas versus no matter where they had it. And Vegas always won. That people will go to Vegas. There's other reasons to go to Vegas while you're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
So they would go to Vegas. So they're not dead in the water in 2025, 2024. 2025, they got another shot because New Orleans factored it's going to happen. So the West Coast is going to keep them alive anyway. And then 2026, it all depends what PCA does.
Now, okay, so what about like the cost for manufacturers to ship booth items from Vegas to New Orleans, though? Because that's going to be huge, you know.
But
but
did you saw us at United Cigar at PCA?
I saw pictures. I wasn't at PCA, but yeah.
So gigantic.
Huge.
It was a giant. And then you saw us at TPE, and it's one little thing that they have set up for us. It's so inexpensive to go. It's a no-brainer just to meet some of your customers and say hello to them. It doesn't matter if you sell anything or anything, but another touch with them. So you can do it on the cheap, certainly there. I know Oliver's going to both, but again, he was walked into it. But will he go the following year? Yeah, the people on the West Coast or something that aren't going to go to New Orleans. And rumor is they're going to be at New Orleans 2 years in a row. It's not the first time we went to New Orleans. I think it's been 3 times to New Orleans. New Orleans, I don't know what you think of it. It's a shithole.
I'm not a fan.
Me either.
I don't like the town. The only thing remotely
we're fat
about
guys. The food is good. But
I was just about to say the food. That's the only thing. And to be honest, I'm like, I can get good food other places too.
Right.
You know,
it's not that good. You know, that I got to deal with New Orleans. Man, that city smells. That's how bad that city is.
And not just that. Yeah, I know. I think you and I talked about maybe the last time you were on is that that first PCA that they're doing back there in 25, right? It's 25 that it's going to be. Right. Yeah. 24 is in the one in March. 25 is the first one in New Orleans. That's the same weekend as what is it? French Quarter Festival, which is the second largest festival in the city behind Mardi Gras. And so, you know, you're going to have tons of people. Hotel rooms are going to be at a premium just in and of themselves. And you can't tell me that's not why maybe PCA was able to get the convention center space, is because nobody else wanted to be down in the city at the same time that was going on.
Well, why does the PCA fall on 4th of July week every year? Because nobody wants that space.
Yeah.
So, we got something special this year. We got it on March Madness basketball week.
Yeah. So it's not
going to be any better.
I would say hotel rooms are going to be expensive as hell and at a premium in Vegas then too.
So the fact of the matter is nobody wants us. And we got to take what we can take, and that's it. Unless we would dare someday say, let's go where there's no nightlife. And we had done it one year in Texas somewhere. I don't remember the city in Texas we went to. There was nothing around. There was just maybe 4 hotels that we had to split ourselves up in 4 hotels. There was no meeting grounds to where it is. And I get it. Some of this, you know, you want to have a place to go where everybody meets and all that stuff. But, you know, I got business to do, a lot of business to do, and I came to do business. So I don't care. The nightlife that doesn't happen for me. Actually, it was probably the most I slept during the trade show that year because there was no place, nobody doing anything. So good for me. I got some sleep, you know.
There's probably a couple of retailers out there that got some actual business done on one of those trips that year too. Yeah.
But everybody bitched after and said there was no nightlife. There was no place to go. There's not. Okay, New Orleans and Las Vegas. Okay. I get it. Big nightlife.
I don't know.
I wasn't that guy before, and I'm certainly, as years go on, it's getting worse and worse of me looking for that kind of action.
There has to be a better or a different alternative than Vegas and New Orleans. That offers maybe some nightlife for folks. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
How about a cruise ship, a docked cruise ship? Don't even take it out.
Ooh.
Or maybe once a day, take it out and turn it around and bring it back for fun or whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody, something like that. All these things have come to discussion about. But look at my poor New England Cigar Expo. That I do the big anniversary party every year at a beautiful place.
Yep.
And I this year I'm in a tent in the middle of nowhere
at a cow farm.
At a cow farm. And I was disgusted by it. And I was so unhappy. And then the doors are open. And I'm like, I start apologizing immediately. And everybody said, oh, it's great. Don't worry about it, whatever. But I mean, I went from one extreme to the absolute other, dirt floor. It was pouring rain out, of course. But the fact of the matter is it's there or nowhere right now until I can find something better. But I haven't been able to find something better even after using it. So we're doing it again next year there.
By all accounts, I heard nothing but great things about it. I mean, I know I have a serious case of, missing out. It just was what it was this year and everything. But I mean, it sounds like it was a wonderful time. So I wouldn't be diminishing it, even if it was at a cow farm. I mean, you guys cleaned up the cow patties, I assume.
No, I got complaints from the food trucks that after it was over, one of the food trucks guys emailed me back and said, well, I more than hit the minimum like you said I was going to do and blah, 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 blah. He said, but there were a lot of flies around, which is not good to have a food truck with flies. And maybe that was because of the cow excrement that was out on, what are you going to do? These cows, that's it. It's a cow farm.
It's a working cow farm. I mean, whatever. I don't know. Sounds like you had a prima donna food truck.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if I ask him back next year, and we'll see if he says, yeah, I'm in. And I already know the answer, which is yes, because he made money. So, that's what they're in business for, too. So suck it up. And, we're going to try to make it a little better than we did before. Learned our lessons of whatever little issues end up happening. But from going into a wedding facility, which is what we used to do before, where everything is absolutely perfect and you walk in and you're ready to go. This was 3 days of setup, trying to turn this into looking like it's a fantastic thing. And that was from tens of thousands of dollars of lighting and production that had to happen, generators that had to be brought in, all these expenses, my God. And at the end of it, if I could please not lose much money, I'd appreciate if that's going to end up happening, because it's certainly, anybody looks at that, it's certainly not a moneymaker. These things cost so much to do it, in a field, because people wanted Wi-Fi. So a company came in and supplied Wi-Fi, so they had Wi-Fi. All these things, people, they don't even realize what some of the stuff that was going on ended up happening. But it was a nightmare throughout. And at the end of it, I exhaled and I said, I think everybody had a good time. It seemed like it was good. I hear positive from people saying it to my face, but then looking at social media and seeing, no, it was okay. People weren't complaining. It was pretty good that it got pulled off. But the back end of that could have been a sitcom of seeing the back end of what was happening there.
See, that's the whole trick, is that you make it look effortless. That's what matters, So as long as the guests and everybody, they don't realize it's happening, then you're pulling it off just fine. And like like you said, and like I said, from everything I saw, from my vantage point on my patio here, it seemed to go very, very well. So, Well, good. Well, why don't we go ahead and do this now? Maybe. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by Villiger. Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. So, Dave, this is the part of the show where we talk about what we're watching and entertained by, books that we're reading, movies, TV, whatever it is that we're watching, maybe a podcast that we're enjoying. So, do you have time to be entertained by anything lately?
Well, if my wife's listening in the other room, she's probably enjoying that I'm having the night with you, because I'm like the most boring man when it comes to TV. When my daughter was little, she used to say to me, why do you always watch gray TV? And gray TV is black and white TV.
Yeah.
Because I'd watch old TV shows all the time, or old movies. I'm a Perry Mason guy, and from the 50s to the 60s, and every once in a while, Columbo type of thing that was in color. These were color TV shows. And what else do I watch? I watch Hogan's Heroes and god awful TV shows and stuff, but that's the stuff I like. But if I try to go into today or more recent, there was a show. I think they only did one season or two seasons of it so far, and then all of a sudden came the writer's strike, so they lost the season. I hope they come back. But it was Poker Face. I don't know if you saw that.
I don't know if I know that one.
All right, so Poker Face is almost Columbo, but it's a girl that does it, and she has this uncanny knack that she can tell when people are lying. So they actually bought her from Las Vegas because she'd go in every poker game, and she could tell when people were lying during a poker game and see their poker face, right? And so whatever, she gets herself in trouble in Las Vegas, and they want to kill her. So she takes off in her car, and she goes from town to town, finding a job and trying to create a life again until they catch up to her at the next thing. But while she's there, she's like a Columbo, that wherever she goes, somebody got murdered, and she figures out who done it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it and I go, wow, I like this show, and it's not even in black and white, and it's pretty new, and I like it. And then I read a review somewhere on it, and they said this is a knockoff of Columbo, basically. And I'm like, oh my god, maybe that's why I like it.
There you
trying
go.
to figure it out. So that's probably the newest thing. I watch documentaries and stuff like that because I want to learn something as I go of somebody or something I've heard of, and say, how did that really happen?
Yeah.
And it was not this Sunday, the previous Sunday. I'm looking around at different documentaries that are there, and I find one. And again, my wife comes down and she goes, what the hell are you watching? And that was How to Be a Cult Leader. How to Be a Cult Leader.
I think I saw that on Netflix. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw it there.
Pretty interesting. It freaked her out because she thinks I want to be a cult leader, but I don't. I want to know the psychology of what happens. And it turns out that, like, Jim Jones and Reverend Moon and, all these cult leaders, Charles Manson, and they talk about all of them and all the things that they had in common of how they talk to people and how they feed them and different things that end up happening. I don't know if they know that as they're doing it, but they figure out how to make these people actually give them all their money, kill for them, just kill themselves, literally.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Jim Jones, you were talking about that in him. I mean, yeah, he was the drink the Kool-Aid guy.
Right. So I thought that was interesting. And that's like an 8-part series of that. And you start binging that, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting to me. Weird, but it's interesting.
I always joke there's those podcasts that are out there. There's ones that are designed to help people fall asleep. It's like a sleep meditation thing. And I've used them once in a while, and it's kind of funny. It's this person with a really soft, soothing voice, and they're telling you a story, and it's that kind of that voice, and it lulls you to sleep, and they're an hour long, and it's telling you a story or something like that. And I always think, I fall asleep within the first maybe 10 minutes. It's like at like the half an hour mark, are they coming on and being like, all right, now send me a blank check to
Right.
P.O. Box. And like, how many people are being like subliminally told, give me all your money, and that sort of thing. So maybe you ought to learn that off the how to be a cult leader. You can figure out some tips, and then you guys can put out like a little supplemental episode of the Cigar Authority for nighttime. It's like, buy all your cigars at twoguys.com. Sign up for the show pack.
Right.
I think Ed could pull that off. He's got the voice. He could do something like that.
When I was a nightclub disc jockey before I got into the cigar business, and I had opened the cigar shop. So for 3 years, I did both. Well,
Yeah.
coming off of a nightclub, it's rowdy, everybody's going crazy, and I got to get up in 5 hours to go to work. I got to go to sleep, and you don't go to sleep because you're still pumped up from that night, and it's tough. So I taught myself to watch cartoons or brainless TV to try to get myself calmed down. Okay, I saw this 100 times before. Let me put it on, and I put it on. I know what's going to happen. It's not like I got to be intense. I can almost do the dialogue. Perfect. Okay, now I'm falling asleep. Okay, I'll go to sleep. So that was part of it too, and that's it today too. Because by the time I get to television, it's an hour or so before I'm going to go to bed. So give me something I've seen before, and don't stimulate me. Do the opposite. I know what's going to happen. I've seen this one before.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I used to watch Nick at Night as a kid, so I'm right there with you, man. It was Get Smart. That was my
Yeah,
favorite on
great.
there. Don Adams with the shoe phone and the cone of silence and all that. I love that show. That
That's
was
it.
great.
Me too.
Yep. So, um, well, so we haven't really talked about the cigars much at all. I'm already at the point I took the band off of mine. Super solid smoke. I mean, as we said, the Leaf by Oscar, generally super really good cigars. This one is smoking really well. I'm glad I have a second one inside so that I can, as we were talking about earlier, really concentrate on it, really get something out of it, because I've been enjoying the conversation. So I've just been kind of puffing away. But tell us a little bit about the Expo cigar. Like, was that only available to folks at the Expo, or was there more that folks could get if they missed it?
Yes. So the idea was to just make enough for the expo, but as I always get very excited as I do a Cigar Authority, when we do a cigar for there, I buy too many because I
Uh-huh.
think, oh, okay, I'm going to get through them. I did the same with the expo cigar. It's not easy to get a factory to make something for you. Very, very short run. But I think we made 300 boxes of these. And I said, oh, we'll get rid of all 300 at the expo. It's only $99 a box. Of course, there's lots of boxes left. And we still have it available up there. But let me
How
give
many
you
in a
all
box?
10, $99
Okay.
box of 10.
Okay.
The box is shaped like a wrestling ring, a little wrestling ring, because we had
Ah,
little midgets.
yeah.
And they're Rothschild cigars, so they're short, 4.75, I think, by 52 maybe, and
Perfect.
kind of a light cigar, a little vanilla, hint of vanilla to it, and not added to it, but as a flavor note. And I like the cigar anyway, but we do a thing every year on twoguyscigars.com called the 12 Days of Christmas. And I'll tell you that just because it's coming up right around the corner, December 1st to December 12th. Every day we send an email out and say, this is the 12 days of Christmas. This was what today's 12th day of Christmas is. Also, I believe if you just go to the website, you'll see it. I think you'll just see it.
Yeah.
And this is what today's is. And what we're looking at is things that we're sitting on a lot of, and let's sell them off. Doesn't matter if we lose money with them or anything, but we're going to get rid of what we have to get rid of because it's around. And one of the days, I don't know which day it is, but you'll see the Cigar Expo cigar on a deep discount of, okay, so if you're thinking of picking up today, wait a few more days anyway, because you're going to see it pop up in there if you wanted to give it a try. Box of 10, so whatever it's going to be, but it'll be certainly less, maybe a lot less. I mean, we tend to really get rid of them all because at the end of the year with a corporation, when you see these big deals that are happening, Black Fridays and all that, for those that don't understand what it is, and these deals that happen at the end of the year, especially the last week of the year, is whatever inventory you have over and above what your inventory was the previous year, it becomes profit. Why is it profit? Because it could have been cash. You didn't have to buy it, but I overbought. And I'm telling you, I overbought, and it becomes taxable. Well, at a 38% tax that I pay, I could discount the 38% and give it to you instead of give it to the government, because that's where it's going.
Yeah.
So that's when you see these kind of major drop off in pricing. You go, wow, what are they doing to there? That's what happens. And it maybe not early years of a cigar business or any business, but 38 years into it, which is how many years I've been doing this.
You've got
I've accumulated too much stuff, and we just have to get rid of it or pay taxes on it. And once we pay taxes on it, now we're not going to discount it, right? After that point. So it's now or never. But then again, it's a bad time of year. You're buying gifts for other people, or you're buying gifts for yourself. It's a funky time to end up doing it, but we've been doing it for many, many years, this 12 days of Christmas thing, and it works, so we continue to do it. Rinse and repeat if it works.
Well, I know for me, one of the things that probably not this year, but I've been thinking a lot about it. And one of the things that I'm thinking for next year, I'm going to implement. See, I'm the kind of guy that when I'm out and about, if I see something that I think, oh, this person would like that, I pick it up and I give it to them right away. I don't hang on to it for Christmas or anything like that, because I have that. I get a little something after. Well, it's like I saw the egghead and I sent it to you right away. I could have saved that and packaged that up and been like, hey, Christmas, here you go. Here's a little Mr. Jonathan Voodoo doll. But whatever. Instead, I send it to you right away. And so I do that kind of stuff. And so I think for next year, my plan for Christmas is to keep track all throughout the year of all the little things that I get for people, and just to send them a card that says, hey, wishing you Merry Christmas. I really hope you enjoyed all this stuff that I bought you throughout the year.
Yeah.
And just kind of avoid that gift giving backlog right there at the end of the year. That way I can have the disposable income to actually enjoy the 12 days of Christmas sale at your place.
Right.
So that nature.
Right.
So I would encourage other people to maybe consider the same thing. Spread the love throughout the year so you can get cigars for yourself at the end of the year.
One year, some marketing guy told me, this is back in the early days of Two Guys, that we used to send Christmas cards out, handwrite Christmas cards, when we had one store back in the day in the Boston area. And it was still a jaunting task that my dad used to help me with, and handwrite these Christmas cards and put them out. And the locals and stuff that were my customers at the time appreciated. In those days, you used to string your Christmas cards that you got from everybody up and hang them up. And a marketing guy said, you're mixed in with everybody else's Christmas card, and everybody sends Christmas cards out. Why don't you send a Thanksgiving card out and say thanks for your business or whatever, and you'll be the only one that they get, and then they remember you. So I tried it one year, and it was interesting. I did it, and I heard from a lot of people, and they say, oh my God, you sent me a Thanksgiving card. Well, I didn't hear that when I sent you a Christmas card, because I was one of the 50 Christmas cards you got. So that was interesting that worked. And this year, just a week ago, and I have the card in my briefcase, I got a half-year birthday card from a company, from somebody. I don't know what this guy does, but his picture was in the back in information, and it said, happy half birthday. Well, I'm 63 and a half, but I got a half-a-year birthday card, and I looked at and figured the date, and I said, they got it exact. I mean, I received this on my 63rd and a half birthday, or whatever. So they knew what my birthday was, and they made sure I got that on the half and ended up doing the math. And I saved it because I said, I want to look into this thing and I want to look into this person and his business because I like that kind of shit. I like seeing somebody going the extra mile here and figure something out. And who knows what they are, but I've been meaning to do it. I threw it in the briefcase so I wouldn't forget it, and that's where it is right now.
There you go. There you go. I like that kitschy stuff too. Something that kind of catches you off. My bank actually does the Thanksgiving card. Although now that I think about it, I don't think I got it this year. I must have fallen out of the top 10% accounts or whatever that they have because I think they only send the Thanksgiving card to the top accounts at that branch. So I must have fallen out of the top. Oh well, I'll have to rectify that next year, I guess. But anyway, interesting. Well, why? Well, I don't have the button loaded up, so I'm gonna have to do this by manually. So, I need to talk about My Monthly Cigars for a moment. It's a premium cigar subscription service. Mr. Nick Gervais over there at My Monthly Cigars, he has a subscription. You can get a box of cigars sent to your door every month. Comes in a couple of different sizes. I get the Robusto box, which is 4 cigars for $30. Or there's the El Presidente, which is 8 cigars, 2 of everything that's in the Robusto box for $50. And if you use offer code PULPIT, PULPIT, gets you free shipping on the first box. And while you're over there at his website, you can get some fucking good coffee. He has the Daily Press, which is the Pulpit blend. He's got the Lounge blend coffee, which is really good. I have been using some of that in the kitchen lately. And a wide variety of other blends. He may still have that pumpkin crap still around. I don't know, but and for all I know, he's probably going to do some candy cane something or other too, because whatever. I mean, why not? If somebody buys it, then why not? But you can get all that over at mymonthlycigars.com. Or if you want just want the coffee, you can go to fuckinggoodcoffee.com. It's FAH King Coffee, goodcoffee.com.
We did the espresso blend this week with him, and we did the breakfast blend. And my next purchase from him is going to be the breakfast blend plus.
I heard you guys talking about that.
I said, this is interesting to me because this is what I want because I want a little more juice than that. And at the same time, he explained to me that, espresso is not as strong as regular coffee. It's actually lighter. So these people that say, give me a coffee and throw a shot of espresso in it, we would think that we were juicing it up, but the opposite happens.
Interesting.
So I said, that's interesting. He said, that's why we have breakfast blend plus. And I'm like, what? And he goes, yeah, it's a little shot extra more of caffeine, which is what I want in the morning. And I go, that's my next purchase when I get done with this one. I want to see what that's about. I've never heard of such a thing. So there it is.
I've only just now, I've recently, in the last couple of months, started using my coffee maker more. I was never much of a coffee guy. And I'd gotten to the point I've been accumulating all this fucking good coffee in my cabinet. And I'm like, I probably should start actually like making some of this stuff. And so now I'm not an everyday coffee guy, but a couple days a week out of the week, I'll do it. And it's nice in the morning. I have my.
Well, it's my number one thing. I was telling Nick that I said I like cigars a lot, but I love coffee. And I'm addicted to coffee, and I have to have coffee. And I only drink 2 beverages, coffee and water. That's it. I'm not a drinker.
Oh, I'm an iced tea guy.
Yeah. I'll have an iced tea, unflavored iced tea.
Yep.
Possibly. Again, it's caffeine. I need the caffeine. I need it. I crave it. I want it. And
that lemonade of yours, that La Giana lemonade, I was addicted to that in that brief period of time I was up at your place. I mean, I could not get enough of that stuff. So, I need to talk to whoever makes that for you to get a private label and just get a whole bunch of it shipped to me. I don't care about selling it. I just need it for myself because that stuff is fantastic. But no, I get it, man. I get it. So, well, where are you available on the socials? Let's get into the socials here.
Wow, what I'm on.
I'm testing you because you're gonna have to start doing this on your own show. It sounds like.
Yeah. am I David Garofalo on Facebook? I don't know because
I
I got
think
thrown off
so.
and then I had to be somebody else, or is it Two Guys Cigars or whatever it is?
I think
Both
you're
names.
Dave or David Garofalo on Facebook, and I think you're Two Guys Cigars on Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. And I'm not good at it. I've been told I'm not good at it, and I know I'm not good at it. I post, and then I look for a little while to see if I have to answer somebody, but then I move on to work, and then I get home and I post something at nighttime, and then I look for a little while, but I just don't have the time to sit there and be social, which is what it requires to do. So I'm not good
I
at
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. We have the group chat, and I think you guys just started a group chat thing for your group on Facebook too. That Friends of the Cigar Authority or
You know, that isn't even
whatever. And
us. That's been out there
oh,
for
really?
years, and it's not us. Um, I think I know who originally did that. I'm not
Oh,
positive, so I
okay.
won't say. But somebody had done that before, and I'm allowed to go in there and do do things if I wanted to, which is maybe take something down if somebody wrote something, whatever they gave me the criteria. I never did
Yeah,
because then again, I'm not good at this. I
yeah,
post something when I do it, but that was actually just a fan of the show that started Friends of the Cigar Authority, which is pretty cool.
yeah. That
Um,
is nice.
yeah, so that was nice that existed. That happened somewhere else, and some other platform, another group like that started, and it started off really good, then it started getting really ugly, and then we actually got thrown off our own group, which it wasn't ours to begin with.
Yeah.
So we were thrown off that, and it became a hate group, to be honest with you. So whatever's
That
going,
sucks.
yeah, whatever's going on with that. But people love to hate. I mean, that's the crazy thing, and I think of that of Vince McMahon and the wrestling
Yep.
company, right? So I knew Vince McMahon many years ago, and Vince McMahon said to me that who sells the tickets to the wrestling matches, and I said no. He said the bad guy, and I said why is that? He said because people pay to see the bad guy lose, not to see the good guy win. And I'm like, why is that? And he says it's just a known fact that people love to hate. People will pay a ticket to go hate on the guy. They're not cheering on the good guy. They're cheering only to make the bad guy feel worse. But they're loving to hate. So the money was, the heel of the bad guy was the one. If the champion was fighting the guy they hated really bad, they could sell a lot of tickets. So some of these bad guys back in the day, or still to this day, is the one that sells the tickets. I'm like, that is a weird. I find that psychologically fascinating.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you wonder. I mean, looking back, I'm trying to think of the last time I really paid attention to professional wrestling, and it was probably right around the late '90s when Vince McMahon was actually a heel, a bad guy
Announcing.
in there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, it was after his announcing days. It was when it was him and Stone Cold Steve Austin. They had a feud going and everything, and that was fantastic. But he was a fantastic bad guy.
Yeah.
Just the
He understood it. Guy's a genius anyway. I mean, what he
yeah.
created is pretty amazing. I know it was passed down from his father, who I knew back in the day, but he took it to another whole stratosphere
Oh,
for
for
sure,
sure.
because he understands the psychology of what happens, which is it's a very psychological thing that happens, and they bring little kids up, teaching them, hate the bad guy or whatever, and the Russian guy back in the day, and
Oh yeah.
whatever was going on in the world, cowboys and Indians at one point. If you
Iron
go back,
Sheik, man. You had the Iron
yeah,
Sheik.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. Well, then, okay. And then we covered YouTube, and you're also on Rumble now. So we need to be watching on
Rumble is the
Rumble.
new thing. I don't know. I don't know it very well, except for I uploaded it myself on my phone last week. I went on live. I put something on there. Welcome everybody, and saw over 2,000 people jump on it in 3 days watching it. We don't get that kind of viewership on YouTube or any other video platform of it. So they're not holding us back yet, but they certainly do when it comes to everything else, because we're tobacco related. Your
For
show,
sure.
same thing.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of my show, I'm on Instagram at the Cigar Pulpit. I'm on Facebook with the Pulpit Parishioners Group. And like I said, that's where you guys can get in on the voting for the top cigars of 2023, according to you, the parishioners. And then I'm on Twitter/X, where I don't really do much, but Nick Gervais tells me I need to because that's apparently the new best thing for cigars.
He told me too.
Yeah.
That's what he said to me too. You know, Twitter was a big thing for cigars way back. There used to be, before there was other ways people met up, cigar people met up. They were called tweet ups.
Okay.
And they would have certain places. I think something in the area where you live was one of these big tweet ups that would happen twice a year, and people would come from everywhere to go there. And I'll think of the name of the place after we get off the air, I'm sure.
Well, of
But
course.
I can't think of what it is. But it became a big thing. And as Facebook came in, Facebook grew, and Facebook is actually the #1 place right now. But he says, oh no, Twitter, which is a different model now. Twitter is probably not pushing away tobacco as it was, and maybe that's why it got away.
Yeah.
But now you got Elon Musk doing it. Maybe he's opening it up like Rumble's opening up, and we can get some juice on there. And instead of putting a message on Twitter that nobody ever saw, maybe that's not the case anymore. So I heard him loud and clear. That's what he said to me too. And I go, all right, I'm going to start looking into that.
I need to look into it. It's one more thing, but I'll look into it. And
one more thing.
That's exactly it. And I'm on YouTube for now. Nobody's come after me yet, thankfully. So we got that
they're
going
coming.
on.
First they came after me, then they came after you, and there was nobody left, right?
That's exactly
that story.
That's exactly it. But anyway, well, Dave, thank you so much for taking time out. I really do appreciate you taking time out of your evening and everything. And I hope that everything goes well for the rest of the year for you.
You too. Thanks so much.
Are you coming out to Vegas for TPE, or are you just doing PCA?
I'm just doing PCA, but Oliver will be there, but I'm not doing it.
All right. Well, I know I'm doing TPE just because, I can't argue with them, comping 2 nights of the hotel room and, everything else. But, I'm trying to figure out my PCA plans. With them coming so close to, I was going to do it this year or next year, but then they pushed it up. Now it's like, okay, now we're back to back. And, right around 60 days separating them.
Yeah. So I'll see you in New Orleans next year.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we can go have some good food and commiserate about how stinky the town is.
Right.
There we go. Well, guys, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick.
And I'm Dave.
Everybody stay safe and stay smoky. So we got that, and then we'll do that.